I just want to get right in, man, because we've had conversations first and foremost about the Department of Education, its dismantling and how that can affect all people, but Black people in particular.
And it's very interesting, brother. I don't know exactly what the Democratic Party is going to do at this point. I mean, I know they're looking for leadership. They're looking for somebody to take the mantle, and it's kind of up in the air about what's going to happen due to the power of Donald Trump. And it's with the Republicans. Average person you bump into, no matter what they look like, what set they claim, whatever, they all trying to get home to their family. They're trying to feed their kids, man. So,
and I want to say the same to you, man. That's what makes me, whenever I see something pop up, I know you're about to give me some truth, and you're going to give me your truth as you see it, and it gives me something to consider. All right, so here we go. Listen, this is Dr. Musa Abdullah from All Things Education Official. If you like what you're seeing, you like what you're seeing, please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Subscribe, comment, like, and share, put me in the algorithm. If you want to follow me, my social media handles, put me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Rumble, and X. And if you like what the content is doing for you, please go to my About section and buy me a cup of coffee. It'd be really appreciated. I didn't even have time to bring him in and do it all professional, because when you get Tim Black in the building, you say, listen, get him while you get him, man, because it's a hard act to follow and he's a hard man to catch up with. So I want to dive right in first. Brother Tim Black, how are you today?
Man, I'm excellent. Doc, how you doing, brother? Glad to be here. Glad to see your people, man. And like I said, man, you've been on my platform, man, and I appreciate you doing that. A couple times you've been through, and I'm like, man, one day I was just thinking, I was like, damn, I wonder why Doc didn't bring me on this platform. I wonder if he know I'm down, So let me let him know, because he didn't ask, but let me offer to reciprocate the love, man. You know what I'm saying?
Man, let me tell you something, man. I'm gonna tell everybody out there in the audience, if you don't have a Tim Black in your corner, you losing, brother. Because I'm telling you, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm new in this space. I only got like a couple years in. But when you see somebody like Tim Black reaching out to you, that lets you know that maybe you're doing something that's worthwhile, man. And I'm so honored and I'm so appreciative of you coming on out, man. So I know that on your platform, you're dealing with politics. I mean, I've learned so much from you, man. Every time you drop a video, no matter what I'm doing, I'm listening to it in the car, work, home, whatever. And, I learned a couple of things. First thing I learned is that both parties suck Johnson. I know that. And I ain't gonna let nobody take my cornbread. I know that. So I just want to get right in, man, because we've had conversations first and foremost about the Department of Education, its dismantling and how that can affect all people, but Black people in particular. I'm in the working class. And I just have a couple of questions, if you don't mind me jumping on in.
Whatever, man. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm down, bro.
All right. Okay. Well, first things first, it says you've been very critical of both parties from day one, And how do you see the current political landscape shaping up, heading into the next election cycle?
Man, it's very interesting, brother. I don't know exactly what the Democratic Party is going to do at this point. I mean, I know they're looking for leadership. They're looking for somebody to take the mantle, and it's kind of up in the air about what's going to happen due to the power of Donald Trump. And it's with the Republicans, you're looking at Trump. We don't know who's going to succeed Trump. This is it, Once the orange man is gone, then they got to create a new bad guy, to stop them from doing all the great policies they was going to do. What doggone Trump in the way? What for him, man? Biden would have used that executive powers, would have did everything, all the things he would have done if he just could have got the pen top off his pen. That Trump and that Mitch McConnell, bruh. So man, it's to me, man, what's going to happen, I think, is they're gonna put somebody in front. They're trying to do that now with AOC. It's a toss-up between AOC and Pete Buttigieg. But the more important thing, not about who they run, it's about what their message is going to be. What they're going to be saying to the people. What is going to resonate with people. Right now, what's resonating are the pocketbooks of the American working class. It's what's going on in the minds of people that got to put food on the table, roof over head, kids through school, and worry about the welfare and well-being and safety and the upward mobility of their families. Because we all want the same thing, man. We all looking for the same type of solutions. And it's not about, a lot of people getting caught up in this hate stuff and all this stuff, man. A lot of this is online nonsense, man. Average person you bump into, no matter what they look like, what set they claim, whatever, they all trying to get home to their family. They're trying to feed their kids, man. So as far as politics, it's a battle between the couch and who got the best messaging. And we'll see what happens.
Would you say that we're moving away I know there's been some significant movement away from identity politics. Would you say that this upcoming election would be the referendum from the people saying we're no longer worried about what you look like, we're worried about what you're talking about and what you're willing to do?
You know, I want to say that. You know what I'm saying? I want to say that. I want to say that people are growing in that aspect. But you know what, man? Something when I had a conversation with CNN Michael Singleton.
Yeah,
he came on my channel a couple weeks ago, and he said something that I hadn't considered, brother, because I don't know, maybe I'm just too close to it. He said, you know, people talk about Kamala Harris and her losing to Hillary Clinton. They don't mention that Kamala got more votes than Hillary. I'm sorry, not losing to Hillary, but losing to Donald
Trump.
Yeah, but
Hillary?
She got more votes than Hillary Clinton. I was like, wow. So I looked into it. Absolutely. Millions more votes than Hillary. So I don't know if it was people waking up or there just not being a clear message. You know, unfortunately, I think for Black Americans, man, we're still in defensive mode when it comes to voting. You know, a lot of us in a harm reduction. Nobody really for us, so let's get the person that may do the least amount of damage for us. You know,
the lesser of two evils concept, right?
Lesser of two evils, and a lot of people actually vote that way. They don't feel like they got a lot of options, and they choose what they think is going to be less harmful. And a lot of people that voted for Trump didn't necessarily vote because they liked everything. They saw one thing, maybe it was immigration, maybe it was they wanted to get out of Ukraine. You know, there's different reasons, and that's what made them pull the trigger. But are we done with identity politics? I think the average American, the average citizen, working person, when you say identity politics, they don't even know what you're talking about. They'd be like, what is that? You know, say identity. What are we, orientation? What are we trans people running? What's going on? And I think most people, they get signals and they look at the messaging and they go on that. But I hope that we can wake people up. I'm hoping that we're doing our job. I'm doing my job. Doctor, you're doing your job, man. Will people finally realize it's all about policy? Yeah, when policies are presented, that resonate, I think that will carry the day. I think they'll vote for somebody who'll put food on the table, a better shot at security for them and their family over sex, race, religion, or orientation, where you from, regional alliance, all these things.
Right. Okay, well, great. I'm glad. Now, you know, I'm about to dive into some education stuff. I know that when you're dealing with the political arenas, it always finds its way in one way or the other. Typically, when you're doing commentary, it really only comes up when there's a school shooting, or if it's some book banning, or if there's a burning of books. But this is what my question is to you. Many schools are facing book bans and censorship. Do you see the situation as a distraction or a dangerous precedent for the next upcoming election?
People care about schools. I mean, it's an important issue, brother. It's just the way it's presented to people so that it resonates, that it seems like a crucial issue. You know, it's the media. How often is it talked about in the media? Because I know a lot of people with kids. I know a lot of people with school-age kids, college kids, or they're in school themselves, taking classes. Education always ranks in the top 10, at least, sometimes top 5 of what people are concerned about. Recently, it's been about, student loan debt. Okay, that was like a cornerstone, so it kind of peaked its head in now, with that. But I think since Trump, some of the policies that were focused on curricula, as you just stated, the books, the banning of books, I think this is going to be an important issue. If you make it an important issue, and someone like an AOC, yeah, I think they will focus on it. I think depending on the type of Democrat, will focus on these things. And that's sort of what triggers these sort of identity stuff, because it's going to go into Black history. It's going to go into the founding of the country. It's going to go into these subject matters that do have to do with identity and race and the long history, tragic history of race, how Black people have been treated in this country, and other groups as well. I'm sure they want to be included there too. And then it gets into the LGBTQ and some of the other concerns. And Trump's whole policies on removing identity specifically as in how you identify sexually or gender. That's Trump's thing. So yeah, man, I think it's gonna matter. Yeah, right, okay. It's gonna matter because we people, and we got kids, and those kids we're concerned with their education. Most of us, the majority of us are concerned.
Well, I'm glad you said what you said earlier. You spoke about the student loan forgiveness, and that brought me to another question.
Yeah.
With student loan forgiveness hitting roadblocks, where they're just ending all the deferments and the forbearances, do you see this do you think it's a real path forward to making education more equitable? Because as you know, people are still viewing 2-year colleges, 4-year colleges as a way to increase wealth, right? People are not, as I've reported on my channel many different times about the trades and, certification, CDL, all these wonderful things, but people are still locked into saying, I need to go to college. So my question is, what do you think is the real path forward to making education more equitable?
Yeah. Wow, brother. It's the debt, brother. It's the debt. It's, when I was coming up, I know a lot of me and my friends, we made decisions about what we're going to do with our lives based on what our pockets look like. Not so much based on where our goals were, where our hearts were. That's what drove us. I think it really matters who runs. I think it matters what the messaging is, because that sets the tone. Then it matters what the media reports and how that resonates with the people based on media's presentation of these issues. And I think when you have candidates that focus on it, I think then it becomes front and center. But I don't know exactly how to answer your question. Of course, I think people, they want to hear that you're going to cut some, that we're going to find ways to educate our people without going in debt, for 20 years. I think there's been some setbacks. I know a lot of what Biden did actually got overturned in the court system. A lot of people don't know that, and then it only impacted some number like 10% of actual student loan people that had student loans. And it wasn't all the debt. All the debt didn't get wiped out. People. So it was, a lot of it was marketing. You know what I'm saying? It was a shot. I would love to say, man, Doc, I would love to say that people are waking up and realize, hey, man, we fund other countries such as Israel. We have free school. They go to school on partly our money.
Yeah, and that's, brother, I don't mean to interject, but if you don't mind me saying this, no, I've said to, I've had a couple conversations with some colleagues, some coworkers, and they, some of them were pro-Israel and some not so much. And my statement was just that. How are we giving upwards to $3 billion annually to a country that has free education, free healthcare, and we don't? I don't understand that. And someone's got to make that make sense to me. I mean, and if anybody could, maybe you can give me some insight. How does that work? That we're able to give money away to countries that have free education while we don't?
Because we don't prioritize our own citizens. That's all it is. It's about where you spend your money shows what you care about. That's just bottom line. We spend our money on bombs.
Yeah,
that's what we do. That's what America does. We are the superpower. We have hundreds of bases in 70 countries. I forget the number of countries, but in more countries, we have 3 times of the amount of bases in any other country. We spend more on military than all the other countries in the Western Hemisphere combined, and that's what we hung our hat. And we're supposed to be the police state of all these, the police of the armed forces of many of these other countries. And in turn, they buy guns, they buy bombs. We give them money, and then they turn around and buy bombs from us. Yeah. It's sort of like a nice little Ponzi scheme going on.
Yes, it is. Everybody wins except the people.
There you go. So why does it prevail? I think lack of education, man. I mean, I don't know, man. Like I wonder sometimes if the things that aren't sexy, right? When I'm talking about issues, it's hard, man. In the media, you want to educate people to things that matter most, but at the end of the day, it's also about the market, right? So you got to present it in a way that people want to hear about it, right? Which is the hurdle. I want to say, hey, look, guys, we need to focus on education. We need to focus on student debt. We need to focus on why don't we have at least free community college? Why is that not a thing? Why aren't you upset about that as much as you're upset about trans in bathrooms? I'm not saying, or trans in sports, boys and girls. Well, hey, why aren't you at least, if we talk about sports in schools, right? So we're in the schools. Now let's also look at why when your kid gets out of high school, they may have to go join the service in order to get to college. Like, can we just do that? What if your child is not interested in armed services?
That's true.
So we have to package it, I think, in a way that makes it happen. And look, man, they put out all these movies in Hollywood, right? I had some people talk to me about Hollywood, how it's so impactful. Where are the movies on it? Like I said, like there's a reason why it's not discussed. I'm on that now. I know it might sound a little conspiratorial, but I believe when you don't hear about something, there's a reason. It's not like no one else has thought about this. It's not like Doc, I know you're a smart guy. I think I'm at least half as smart. It's not like we cornered the market. You know what I'm saying? We cornered the market on this. So these issues, everybody, think of the people that have been doing this 20, 30 years. Man. There's a reason Joy Reid didn't cover the segment every week. I have a segment on education and the lack of accessibility. There's a reason Don Lemon didn't. I mean, I would like to say, you know, it'd be easy to say they just evil people that didn't care, but you know,
it sounds like it's concerted, right?
There's something behind the scenes that says this is a stinker for us. Or this is not what our donors or our advertisers want us to talk about. So see, if no one's talking about it, even if it is a concern of the people, no one will ever know.
You know, it's so, man, you listen, bro. That's why I love talking to you, man. You bring up so many great points. But one thing I want to say, I always, whenever I would listen to political commentary, whenever you pushed back on policies, particularly Democrat policies, the first thing they would love to say is, you need to be more educated. You need to educate yourself. And so I look around and I say, well, if you really believe we should be more educated, why aren't you talking about the education? Why isn't civics something that's ingrained and taught from the moment that we are starting to read? I don't understand that. And to bounce off your point about whether it's conspiratorial, I don't know, brother, because I'll tell you this. When I started researching for my dissertation, I really believed for some reason that I was going to be doing some groundbreaking work that no one had ever talked on and no one spoke on and researched. Brother, when I started doing the research, all this information just started falling into my lap because the information that I was studying was 40 years old.
Wow.
40 years. And we spoke about it on your channel when we say that 2% of the educating population is Black men.
Yeah.
Even though if you have one Black male in your class as an educator between K to 6, just 1 year, it raises the rates of graduation for Black boys by 36% and 18% for any gender, any race. So if you know this, and this research has been there for 40 years, how come you're not actively promoting Black men into the classroom? You know, and it takes me back to your point you just made. Is it conspiratorial? Because this information should be spoken on, if not weekly, bi-weekly. If not bi-weekly, at least monthly. We should be hearing something about what we need to do to strengthen our educational system. And I'm with you on that, man. And I like to say that because of you, Tariq Nasheed, Jason Black, the Black Authority, people like you, Torian Rain, Afro Elite, the list goes on. Because of people like you, we're getting real information now. You know, I don't know the last time I've ever watched CNN outside of watching CNN as a clip to commentary. You know, no one does the legacy media anymore. So my question to you is, how do you see the role of Black independent media evolving in this climate of miseducation and political polarization?
I think we got to grow up. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is like all those great people you just named, man, and respect and shout out to all those brothers and sisters. There's a lot of sisters doing their thing as well in this space, man. I'll just talk about myself, man. Let me just put it on me. I had a transition period to get to this point. This is where I started. So when I started doing content, I was like, well, I'm just talking about my community. I'm talking about Black issues that concern my community. I'm working a full-time job. I'm coming home at night. I'm doing content, not expecting anything to come of it, right? I make myself up a name. I don't want people to know. I want to keep my job, right? And I'm just doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? This is me getting back to do something that I wanted to do, but the bills didn't add up. You know what I'm saying? Like I could not sustain a family with involved in journalism or radio. I just couldn't do it.
Right.
And you know, I started getting a little traction, and I was like, this is interesting. Let's see where this goes.
Okay.
And I continue to do it. And then I kind of went a little mainstream, I'd say, because the numbers start looking good, start getting interesting, the numbers start piling up. The algorithm would send my content out more. I started doing that. But somewhere along the line, and we can get into that later if you want to, I decided it was time to refocus. This is about 4 years ago. I realized it was time for me to focus back on what matters. I mean, maybe it's just my kids getting older, all of a sudden having grandkids, my grandbaby was born. It's like, what do I want my legacy to be about? What's important to me, right?
Right.
And I'm sure I'm under no delusion that I'll be able to change the world, but I would like to impact it and leave it a little bit better than the way I found it.
Okay.
And for me, talking about issues that concern my son, my daughters, my sons, my daughters, my wife, my brothers, my sisters, my aunt, my community, and even more than that, like the legacy of my parents, man, my dad. When I lost my dad in 2021, actually 2020 now, it just, a lot of things he told me when I was too young to understand, they came rushing back to me. You know what I'm saying? Working in construction, work from DC to inner city, a lot of the lessons he gave me. And I said, you know what? I don't care what I had to do, Doc. I'm gonna reposition myself. I'm gonna go all the way in. I'm an advocate for Black Americans, and I'm gonna be relentless. And it doesn't matter if I lose people or gain people, don't matter. This is not about that. This is about what my contribution to my people is gonna be. And, you know, so I think as far as Black media, as long as you're focused, have your ethics build, you will find great people like Doc. You'll find people that I just had an interview last night with Van Lathan.
Oh, okay.
And we had a very interesting conversation, man. And we didn't agree on everything, you know. We got kind of heated in the beginning, you know, but then it evened out. It got damn cool. Because at the end of the day, we want what's best for Black Americans.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I kind of lost track of what your question was, but
no. It's just the role of Black independent media, you know, and evolving.
You know what? If we work, I think we got to find a way to work together. Now, don't get me twisted. Like, I understand some people are competitive, and I understand the competitive nature of putting out content or what have you.
Right.
But when you watch TV, I got several channels, Doc. I'll admit, I got HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. We got like 20 different channels. You know, we got a house full of people here.
Right.
We don't need just one channel.
Right.
So, you know, it's not like if they're watching Tariq, they can't watch Tim Black. Or if they're watching Doc, they can't watch Warren. You can. You know what I'm saying? So if we can just get past these hurdles and realize that what we're about, what we're fighting for, is more important than what position we hold, I think we got an opportunity to really build something. Because we are winning.
Yeah.
We are winning, man. We are kicking the butts of corporate media right now. They are watching what we say. To determine what they say. Stephen A. Smith goes on rants that it seemed like we wrote them. Black media wrote them.
That's right. That's a big shift from, let's say, 2 to 3 years ago. I tell you that.
So we doing it. We are doing it. Let's just keep up the fire. Let's be more supportive. Let's shout each other out like you just did, my brother. Let's show unity where we can. And when we have problems, we can talk behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? That was something that Van brought up to me. Like, yo, man, hit me next time. You know, we know each other now. We got each other's math. When you got a problem, when you know, give me the benefit of hollering at me. Talk to me directly, because my door is open. And if you lead with that, then we can keep that type of chemistry going. I think that's what's necessary to get us to the next level, because that is not something that's in corporate media. CNN don't talk to MSNBC.
That's true.
That's don't talk to ABC. So if we start being on message, I got to get Tariq credit, because he's one of the first people that said we got to be on code.
Yeah.
Dr.
Fuller put it out there, but he's
the
first one to make it go mainstream.
There you go. Absolutely. Shout out to the guys, man. Shout out to that icon. Rest in peace, Dr. Nellie Fuller. But what I'm saying, as far as Black independent media, I think he was the first person that took it to the Black independent new media wave and was using it as a touchstone for his content. And when I first heard it, I said, you know, that's a different thing. We need to be on code. What does that look like? I think part of that code, and you know, I'm just speaking personal, my opinion. Part of that code is us having alliance with one another.
Yeah.
Having dialogue with one another. You know what I'm saying? Being able to pick up the phone, being able to DM somebody, saying a good word, bigging up a Vicky Dillard, bigging up, you know, just, you know, being the type of person that will be open enough respect for your brothers and sisters and say, that's a good brother. Check out his content. Holler at that man. You know, this guy's doing a fundraiser or he's going here or he's got an event. It don't cost you no money, man, to help promote that brother. Because at the end, if we want the same thing.
Yeah, that's right. You know, it's funny that you said it, and I'm going to go ahead and reiterate that name, the great, beautiful Vicky Dillard. I mean, she's so inspirational, man. But I also want to bring out a brother, man. He reminds me so much of you as far as his desire to support Black independent media, the great Black Shark. You know, he does a lot of X Spaces. He's connected me with Afro Elite. You know, he's done a lot of good stuff, man. He's promoted my channel and my content, and he does work for the Black community. He wants to see us do very well. And they're the great Black Shark. You got to check him out. I'm telling everybody out to check him out. I want my good brother, the great Tim Black, to check out the great Black Shark, man. He's a great guy, man. And he's really on code, man. He really wants what's best for Foundation Black Americans first and the American community in general. He definitely wants that. And this is what I want to say. I noticed that something that you're doing that a lot of us can't do, man. You are getting some of these mainstream politicians to come on, these mainstream figures to come on, man. And I don't know how you're doing it, but I want to say I applaud it. They're feeling comfortable to come on because they know that we're going to hold them accountable, and you hold them accountable and they're still coming. That's I was like, when I saw Sir Michael, I said, uh-oh. I said, what we about to do? So I'm sitting there watching it, right? And I want to say that you're holding people accountable the way we all should. Mainstream media is not doing it. Corporate media is not doing it. Many of us in Black independent media don't have the opportunity to, and I want to say I applaud you and honor you for that. But my question is, how can media, if they ever decided to stop with the shenanigans, stop with the partisan politics in media, how can they hold public officials accountable on issues of education and equity?
We doing it. We holding them accountable. Yo, you will be amazed how well your voice will travel if you get a little traction.
Yeah.
Bruh, I didn't know they were watching my content.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't me reaching out like, yo, Van, come on. Do content on topics that resonate with your audience. Your audience will create the momentum of your content, which will reach the masses. Jasmine Crockett knows who I am.
Oh yeah, what she does.
They not, man, bruh. Look, I'm not gonna say they're egomaniacs, but when your business is in the public eye and your brand is out there, they be up at night Googling themselves. They be up on YouTube looking to see who talk about it. I'm convinced.
I believe that. I
know I didn't got into it with Shannon Sharp. I didn't got into it with Roly Poly. I didn't got into, you know what I'm saying?
Roly Poly Martin. Yeah.
The thing was, bro, when I was, and I'm not young, but I'm young at heart. When I was younger in the game, let's go back 10 years ago, 8 years ago, I looked at it like, oh man, I get to have Donna Brazile on. I get to have on, this Congress person, Ro Khanna from out of California. Wow, what, and that was the wrong approach. Right, they get to come on your show. This is your opportunity to ask some tough questions. Don't be worried if they ever come back again.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like, it's like you had to evolve. I had to evolve in the way I looked at it. And also attack the issue, not the person. Okay. I'm finally getting better at that.
Okay.
Stay on the issue because they'll reach out to you. Van reached out to me and was like, yo, you did a couple videos on me, bro. Publicly now. You did a couple videos on me, bro. If you want to top it up with me, you really want to talk, let's talk.
I like
it. Got to him. I didn't send it to him. In fact, Van was like, yo, and it's the same thing Bakari Sellers told me back in the day when I went at Bakari a couple videos. He said, yo, man, if you got a problem, hit me up directly so I can respond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With Sir Michael, same thing with Sir Michael?
Sir Michael was, dude, I think it was a couple times. Actually, I saw some clips of him on CNN, and he was saying a couple issues that resonated with me.
Okay.
This was like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. So I commented, I wasn't critical. I was more like in agreement with a particular segment that he did. And he saw that and started following me. I followed him back. We DM'd a few times. And then, so I never even thought to bring him on, bro, because, man, I hate to admit it, man, but it took a long time to get the Democrat out of me.
Oh yeah, it gets deep. I got out of me a while ago, but I understood. But I've always been very skeptical. So
it took me, because I was a progressive for several years, man. It took me until, you know what? I'm gonna credit you, Doc. You. Really? I say when we first started looking at the immigration reform issue, looking at the border issue, you were one of the people in my comments that educated me on the impact of the border situation and migrants on the school system.
Okay.
Because I was disagreeing with Brother Phil. I was like, because I felt like we were leaning too much to the right, to conservatives.
Right.
And you said, nah, Tim, it's real out here. The resources are being reallocated, and it's some schools, some students are suffering. Some Black students are suffering, Tim. It's not just something to say because Republicans want to say it to go at the Democrats.
Right.
So I had to reevaluate, go back to the drawing board, look at things, be willing to be humble, and look at an issue again and learn again. So I'm looking at Shamichael, back to Shamichael. I just realized that I agreed on a couple things and I opened the dialogue. That's it. And it took 2 years, man. 2 years, I guess, people have him watching content I was doing. And he said, hey, man, I'll come on if you're willing to have me. So these are those people. As toxic as I know I get bold, bro.
You get real. You get real now.
I was surprised, but to the credit of these brothers, man, and hopefully I have some more sisters coming on. I had Dana with the data from the Joe Brown show. She came on. I was pleased. It was a pleasure to have her come on and share her story, her energy, and be uncompromising in her beliefs. That was great. But man, yeah, if we talk the real, it'll resonate with those people, man. I mean, they're already listening. How do we influence the masses, the public officials? You already influencing them. I'm convinced because I done had everybody from Representative Cory Bush, Representative Jamal Bowman, all of them hit me up at different times on different content I've covered, only because it reached their desk. So I think in the content, put it out that you want to talk to people. Let it be known. Like, I want Stephen A. Smith. I'll tell anybody, I want Stephen A. Smith on my show because I want to ask him some questions.
Oh, I want to be first. I want to be in the front row of that one, baby. I got to be there for that. That's going to be nice.
There are people that'll get negative, Doc. I've had a couple people say, oh, you just want to bring him on to grow your platform. Yeah, I do. But I want to grow my platform. Yeah, nothing wrong with wanting to get bigger. Everybody who put content out. Look, I hate to burst anybody's bubble, but anybody who makes anything and puts it out in the public wants it to get bigger. If you put out a video, you want people to see it. If you didn't want people to see it, you keep it on your damn phone.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the whole purpose, right? If you're an artist and you draw a great painting, if you don't want nobody to see it, you keep it in your room.
That's right. You don't put it up in the gallery.
I don't know why y'all tripping. It's just like, but you could go on any platform. Just always be yourself. Always stay on code, on message. And be steadfast no matter who you talk to, no matter who you bring on. I learned the hard way that don't play to their audience. Don't. How can I say it? Don't pull your punches.
Okay. All right. Don't
pull your punches. So I think if we continue to do that, Doc, you'll get them. You'll get them. A couple people sharing your content, Doc. I mean, you had the accredited credentials. You have the tonality that people want. Your delivery is polished, professional, but also down to earth. These are traits and talents that you don't see often in cable news media. Very rarely when a brother's on cable news, Doc, do I feel like they know what they're talking about, plus do they care?
Right.
I feel that way when I hear you.
And I want to say the same to you, man. That's what makes me, whenever I see something pop up, I know you're about to give me some truth, and you're going to give me your truth as you see it, and it gives me something to consider. Because before watching you and listening to you, I was independent. Always been an independent, always voted independent, write-in candidates, whatever. But you started saying things that to me initially sound like a betrayal. We're going to worry about the working class. We're not going to talk about the class. We got to talk about the race and the race and the race. I'm like, but wait a second. There are people that are in the working class who do not look like me, who actually understand what we're going through, and that to me was amazing to even recognize that there were people who did not look like me who understood what I was going through, because up until that point, I believed that you had to look like me to even understand my struggle, and you helped me to open my eyes to that. And I want to say thank you for that. I truly, truly do appreciate you for that, brother. And you did kind of answer the question, though. The question I was going to ask next is, what keeps you motivated to speak truth to power when the political system is often stagnant and corrupt?
Man, Bro, it's the people, man. It's the community of people that you build from doing these live streams. You know what? You're not gonna get a lot of viewership out of live streams. I mean, I guess you could if you get a bump. Like maybe if I go on a couple shows, a couple people say, Tim, I might be able to get you here, get you there, bring you here, bring you there. We'll see what happens. Maybe then the live streams can bubble. But it's the community around the live stream that you will build, because those people come back and they sit and listen to you for an hour, 2 hours. People together that are chatting for that amount of time build camaraderie. They build community. It's just going to be a byproduct. And then the topics that you bring up as well are going to continue to grow that. You're going to deepen, I think videos give you reach, but live streams give you depth. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And I think that's what
I got to remember that.
Yeah. When people hit me up and the countless emails, man. Hey, man, I got people that don't even use emails. I got people that write letters.
Get out of here.
Letters,
okay.
And they tell me about their lives. They tell me about their stories. They tell me about how much I've helped, how I've opened their eyes. I can't tell you the number, even the content that I cover. And I tell everybody, I'm a Democratic Party hater. I want my black people out of the Democratic Party. I want you out of there. It don't mean you can't ever vote Democrat again, but you got to leave home, bruh. You got to leave home, and if you decide to go back, you go back with a car, with your credit right, with a good job, and you can leave again if you need to. That's how we need to operate.
Yes, sir. I love it.
We need to be independent because I got people voting for them without even looking to see what's on the shelf. Give me the cornflakes. Hold on, we got some oatmeal over here. I don't even want to see that. Oatmeal's good. It don't have no sugar in it. You want to try it? It's good. Got some flavors. It's natural. I mean, cornflakes. No.
Cornflakes.
So we got to stop that. So my community, the people that write me sometimes, bro, when they say it'd be a little old lady from Oklahoma, little old white lady from Oklahoma, Tim Black, I'm 70 years old, and I don't have many black friends, but I did have one real good black friend. But I got a neighbor that's black, and I really like her, and I've been trying to understand her, and I want to thank you, Tim Black, for helping me understand some things I just didn't understand. I just didn't know these things, and I feel so ashamed that I've been on this earth this long, and no one told me these things, Tim Black. I mean, I could go on and on, man. I'm telling you, it has been very hard, very, very emotionally impactful. The impact that I've made on others, man. Yeah. Brother, let me tell you this.
Because you've impacted me, brother. I don't know if you know it. I'll try to tell you. I try to let you know every chance I get, brother. But you are a staple in this house, brother. I got to listen to Tim Black at least once a day. I get at least a little clip in.
Bro,
so I can stay on point, brother.
Man, I appreciate you, Doc, man. I got to say this, man. I had this brother. I have a couple brothers who passed away. It's not all, it's beautiful, man. And I like to say I want to focus on the love, man. I want to focus on the good things about it. But I've also lost people in my community, man. People that I've known for years, man. I've been doing this 13, 14 years. I ain't had a job outside my house in 13 years. And we got a house. So you can do this full time if you want to. But yeah, man, I had a brother that put me in his will. I never met this man.
Wow.
And I didn't know he was even dying. I didn't know until he was gone.
Wow.
He gave me a couple beams. I ain't never asked somebody for $1,000, a couple $1,000. Never asked somebody for that. And I was like, why does this guy give me so much money to a Patreon? Wow. Check my email. His family was like, we lost. They would call and let me know he wanted me to have the money.
Brother, that's deep right there, brother.
Bruh, he's like, believed in what I was doing. He was real close to the show. He always wrote me kind, inspirational, thankful content, letters and correspondence about what we were doing, man. So yeah, those are the people that keep me going. These are the people that, so this helps for all the negative content, negative comments, trolls, people disagreeing. Look, man, people say, Tim, man, you don't like Mexicans. Man, I love everybody. But my focus is black people.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with that. There are organizations that advocate for Latinos and advocate for LGBTQ. They don't be like, well, let me go over here and work with the black people. They be like, they focus on that. There are different groups that focus. If you're working to help cure diabetes, that doesn't mean you don't care about people that have the gout.
That's right. Absolutely.
Gout is painful. Shingles is painful, I hear. There's a nation to fight shingles. It doesn't mean they don't care about you with whooping cough or whatever you got. I don't know.
Right.
But the thing is, when you're fighting for black issues, they say you're divisive.
Yeah.
That's what the progressives told me.
And one of the terms I learned by listening to Interplac Media is you got to be unapologetic about that which you believe in, you know. And when it comes to our community, you know, we know where we're falling short, but we're focusing on where we have our strengths and how we can maximize them. And I'm unapologetically about Black children, first and foremost, because I know they're the future. I'm not going to be here long. I tell my students all the time, listen, I got more runway behind me than I got ahead of me. And if you're not doing 10 times better by the time you're half my age, we're going to have a problem. You know, that's my charge. Do better than I did. I don't want you to do as well as I did. Do better than me because I want your children to have some benefits coming in. They just shouldn't have to start from zero like many of us did. And I want to say, I appreciate you, man. And you're doing a bang up job. And I want to end on this question, man. I think this would be great for you, man. If you had the ear of every American for 1 minute, what would you say about the future of democracy in our country?
It's a great question. I'd say it depends on the future of our democracy goes to Black America. You want America to be successful, do right by Black America. If you don't do right by Black America, you have no moral authority in this world. The violations that have been committed against Black Americans, you gotta right the ship, man. We wouldn't even be having this conversation if we got our 40 acres and a mule.
You dang all right about that.
Black Americans are fought in every war alongside white Americans, and still we didn't get to capitalize or benefit from it the way they did. As far as the GI Bill, there is no excuse for us being second-class citizens not getting full citizenship rights until 1964. I'm the first son in my family to have the same rights as a white man, and my family been in this country since the 1700s.
Isn't that something? That's amazing. Yeah, you're absolutely right, brother. I want to listen. Go ahead.
So I believe for America, people talk about the promise of America and all this. We hear the politicians talk, man. They hear us. They know what Black media is talking about.
Right.
Until we reckon with this and we resolve these issues, just get us out the way. Go ahead and get this all out the way. Let's move on together. Let's not just focus on the material cost, the financial cost is going to be to set things right. Let's focus on what it'll mean for us as a country, as we can finally unify and all be on the same footing and be able to truly move as a country with that legacy behind us and truly turn the page. Not with symbolism. I say all the time, we don't need symbols, we need solutions.
Wow. Well, brother, I want to say that's how you close it out, baby. That is how you close it out. Thank you so much, brother Tim Black. It was, we had to get in and get out and the time, but I'm going to tell you something. Time flies when I'm with you, man. I'm looking at the clock like, what? We did our time, man. And I want to say, I wanted to introduce you to my audience. And I'm pretty sure that the people that listen to me definitely listen to you, but if they don't, they definitely got to experience the great Tim Black. And I appreciate you. And anytime you want to have a discussion about anything, I'm at your disposal. I'm at your beck and call. You let me know and I am there. And I hope the same is reciprocated. Yes. And once again, man, this is another episode of All Things Education Official. I am your host and educator, Dr. Abdullah, bringing you the great Tim Black. You are dismissed.